Today I'm going to talk about Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles. Two films you can find on YouTube. They're the two early Peter Jackson films that are really extreme. Like, Brain Dead he made after this had an emotional attachment with the father of the story of the mother and son. The mother being a zombie and he's trying to protect her from being killed. That had an emotional thing. That was when he started to go towards that, then Heavenly Creatures, then he moved to Frighteners, then Lord of the Rings. So that was when Peter Jackson started to enter the mainstream a little bit. Even Brain Dead, which as extreme as it was, still had some emotional attachment. These two films, less so. They have some emotions in them, but they're very basic. It's like, they're much more of a child playing with his toys, going bang, 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 and having lots of sick jokes. They're teenage boy movies, is the best way to put it. One's an alien invasion movie set in a small town in New Zealand, and another one is a Muppet parody where the Muppets are all sex maniacs and they're all like take drugs, shoot porno films. You know, a typical teenage boy joke suddenly made into a film. So they're perfect for a certain age. I mean, I saw Bad Taste when I was about 17 or 18, and when I watched it, my friends and I watched it 4 times. We went to the video show. We watched it 4 times before we took it back, and in a day, because it was so bizarre. And it is wonderful, especially at that age. As you're older, you realise that this film has some pacing issues, and it is fairly repetitive, but it's still very enjoyable. Meet the Feebles actually holds up a little bit better than Bad Taste for like a plot, but they're both kind of ridiculous films. So Bad Taste is basically 4 guys who are basically nicknamed the Boys, as which obviously became the TV show The Boys, not from this film, but it was based on a comic. And thinking, did the writer of The Boys actually see this film? Thought The Boys is a good name for our ruffians. Who knows? So they have to go and investigate this town where everyone disappeared. So this is in New Zealand. They send 4 guys, and 2 of them get there late. So when the film starts, 2 of them have arrived, and one has been sent in town with a gun to investigate, and he has to deal with being attacked by these creatures. Well, another one called Derek, who's played by Peter Jackson, he's actually already captured one and has him over the side of a cliff. And he's been cruel to him and been a bit of a weirdo, because Jackson plays this character as an utter moron. The guy gets his head smashed in and has to keep on putting brains in his head because his brains keep on falling out and there's a flap. The brains keep on having to be put back in. It's that kind of movie. And at one point, Jackson's fighting himself because he's basically playing one guy with a beard and one guy without a beard, and he's basically fighting each other by himself at the edge of a cliff. There were submachine guns in this film that are basically like wooden guns and painted, but they're actually done really well, so you're not actually paying that much, and they just add like visual stuff later to suggest gunfire, like flashes on film, and even have a joke where at one point one guy does that with the gun, and the aliens are so dumb they fall for it for a second. So they've had massive jokes with this. But essentially they end up going to this house where these creatures are taking the humans. They view human beings as basically the new food source. So what happens is they eat the humans to puke up something, and that puke becomes the thing they can mass produce to the universe and make tons of profits. So they're coming here for a sample, and then they're going to go back home, check, make sure everyone's okay, but then come back and kill us all. So the boys have to stop this from happening, which includes basically the second half of the movie is basically one big fight scene, running around this house, shooting people, shooting all these aliens, getting through all these like absurd sequences with aliens and fight scenes and gore, and it's just delightful how excessive it is. it's like one of those things that you don't want to see what happens in any of this stuff, because watch it, it's fun. What I've explained is just the basics. There's jokes after joke after joke going on through these films. And it's played against the idea of this important thing of these alien invaders and this bad taste stuff that's going on, hence the title, mixed with like New Zealand humour, which is very deadpan and very much no nonsense and very flat delivery, but it's done really well because Jackson knows he's limited to actors who are friends of his. Basically, these are not actors; these are pals. So he basically gets them to play people who talk like them and then work the jokes around their basic deadpan delivery, rather than trying to make them be thespians. He uses what he's got and actually works with that, which is a smart way to do it. And it works wonderfully because there's only really one lead actor who's the guy who's the villain. That they use the money for this one guy, and the rest it's just his pals. So this film came and made a big splash in the kind of horror scene. The horror fans loved it. It sold all around the world. It cost like £45,000 pounds, I think, and it made a fortune over time. It wasn't a film that played the multiplexes, but it did well over time, and there were distributors, and everyone was waiting to see what he did next. What he did next was Meet the Feebles, which was kind of in a weird place because he got some more money to do this one he did before, but when it came out, but it wasn't as big a success as Bad Taste in some ways because people in the underground circuit loved it, but it came out not long worldwide. It came out not long before his next film, which was Brain Dead, which exploded and became a big hit in the horror circuit. Again, none of these films made fortunes, but for horror movies they did really well. But Meet the Feebles was the one in between where it sold around different countries. It did well enough, it had a bigger budget, but it didn't have the same impact. It was a follow-up sophomore Jinx film in a way. There's we've seen what you can do. Are you doing this again? That's what some of them are like, but actually it's a really funny film. It's really enjoyable. It has a rough first 10 minutes though, as they're doing the setup and you're getting used to the characters and the way they talk. It's a bit rough, but at a certain point when it starts to splice off the different characters, you're starting to get an idea of who everyone is and getting their stories. It works a lot better. So it's a bit the Muppet Show done as set in New Zealand. It's these Feebles are basically this variety show, all of Muppets, but they're all alive. So you've got the big stars, this hippo who's obviously the Miss Piggy, who sings the songs and is in love with the guy who runs the show, and he's a scumbag who's seen that someone else, one of the puppets, behind her back, and she knows it, but she's not dealing with it well, and their relationship's going to implode throughout this film. You've got the other star who's a rabbit, who's obviously the kind of Kermit character, who's a sex lunatic and who thinks he's got AIDS, and he's basically plastic come from all the way through the film. You've got a rat who's shooting porno movies in the basement with this cow and whoever he can get to have sex with her. You've got all these, we have this young little thing called Robert, who's got basically the R's are W's, and he's this cute little animal who falls in love with a poodle. They have a romantic relationship. She gets attacked, and he thinks she's actually having sex with this character, and she's not. She's trying to avoid them. So he falls out with her, and then they connect back together at the end. Typical romance thing. But it's done tongue in cheek, so you know exactly all the beats are going to happen. Apparently know everything that's going to happen. A rough idea from the cliches they're playing around with. But they have some fun riffs. There's another character who's getting in the paternity suit with a chicken. He's an elephant, and he's a dumb lug character and he's denying the fact that he owes paternity, even though the offspring is part elephant, part chicken, and a strange creature. There's just various characters. There's a fox who's extravagantly gay and who has a song about sodomy, which ends the movie. He wants to do it, and everyone's saying, "No, you're not doing that until the show goes wrong, and they need to enact." And he's ready with his song. So there's lots and lots of characters. There's a drug deal going wrong as well, which leads to a warehouse gunfight and a monster arriving as a giant monster, giant spider, just like Lord of the Rings. So Jackson already done the giant spider well before that. And the shootouts, there's all sorts of crazy stuff. You've got the hippo going in the food bender. You've got just strange things happening throughout this film. You know, I'm just telling the normal stuff here so far, but it is a lot of fun. It's just deranged though. It's like you just watch. I mean, I think it's less unpredictable than Bad Taste. Bad Taste just goes all over the place. This one has more of a structure. It was the first time I worked with Fran Walsh, who would write all his other films and marry him, and so this one is more structured, a lot more structured, even though it's expanded from something that was maybe shorter. They've worked it out, and there's plot lines that go through everywhere. And they're playing with cliches a lot of the time, even though the characters are weird. It's like, you know this kind of story, you know that kind of story. So you can have a rough idea of what's going on. There's a couple of things I have not said. It's like, I don't want YouTube to bring this video down, because there's one or two characters that are extreme. But you get a rough idea what the cliche they're playing around with. There's a Nam flashback scene that's hilarious. That's very much taken from quite a few Nam movies from the 70s and 80s that you'll have some fun with. It's just non-stop insanity. Again, you can catch it on YouTube. I would highly recommend watching it. Apparently Jackson has been remastering these films. He remastered them when he was doing his documentaries. We don't know when they're getting released. I mean, he said he started like 6 years ago, but he did like documentaries in between that, and he produced films between that. So I think it's just a case he's basically remastering Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead, and Heavenly Creatures, because he owns them now. So I'm sure they're going to come out at some point. I think it's probably a case of getting them all done and then sort of releasing them with the proper extras. That's probably what it sounds like most of it is. He wants them done properly. And I'm sure streaming, switch from physical media to streaming has probably slowed it down a little bit. But I'm sure we'll probably figure the way to release these properly over time. But the fact that we're also on YouTube probably doesn't help. And the selling some of them. But yeah, if you want to see them, they're on YouTube. They are a lot of fun. And they're both fairly short, so you're not going to... You can watch both of them in a night quite easily. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Go watch these films. Bye.